The cancellation of Ash vs. Evil Dead before it could get a much-awaited fourth season disappointed fans worldwide. We were all pumped to see the chronicles of an older Ash Williams, with Bruce Campbell having reprised his iconic role. And because of the streaming and television series culture, a lot of people connect with a franchise better in that format over films, which is how the Evil Dead franchise originally operated. All in all, it was great for us. More so with the expansion of a mythos and the comedy horror style of a show, which was new, all while retaining the gore and horror. But before the series could get wrapped, it was canned. Because you can't have good things. And while I'm positive we will keep getting things from the franchise, having a comforting series within a world I am so invested in is a different kind of happiness.
How do you like your eggs?
More so because a fourth season was mapped out. The creators knew what they wanted to do, and they had already begun to develop it. We could have had it all! In this video, I want to talk about how and why the show got cancelled, everything Campbell said, and what the creators had planned for the possible final season of the show. Stars who, how a network nobody watched killed a show everybody loved. NBC, ABC, CBS, CW, Fox, HBO. Not only are these television networks huge, a lot of them, despite being America-centric, are known across the world due to the sheer number of top-tier shows they have aired. And then you have Starz, a niche premium cable network that holds Ash vs. Evil Dead. Not to demean the network, but it's a given that a show releasing on Starz will not have the same longevity as something HBO is putting out. Or a better example would be ABC. Which season is Grey's Anatomy running? They're gonna hit a quarter century soon, aren't they? Ash vs. Evil Dead did acquire a great reach, however, thanks to Netflix releasing the first two seasons, which boosted its popularity. But the timing was off. By the time Netflix boosted Ash vs. Evil Dead, it was too late for the show's live ratings on Starz to look up. This caused a crash in the viewership, as the numbers fell from 437,000 viewers to 175,000 by the end. Overall, Starz Network has been blamed as the unwilling culprit by writers and viewers alike. They did not wish to have to rely on Netflix over and over for the show to keep up, and canned it. And keep in mind, you have people like Sam Raimi and Tom Spizzali working behind the scenes for the show. For context, Raimi is the man behind the original Evil Dead trilogy, alongside other heavy hitters such as Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Multiverse of Madness. Speziali, on the other hand, has been responsible for big names such as Reaper and Desperate Housewives. Bruce Campbell himself reprised his role as Ash Williams. But that alone is not enough for a big hit, because Starz doesn't really have big names under its belt. It's not that popular with the people outside Ash vs. Evil Dead. So what happened, happened. In fact, Campbell mentioned verbatim that people did not know what Starz was. Let's briefly address what Ash vs. Evil Dead is about before I proceed further. The show is an American comedy horror series operating as a sequel to Sam Raimi's Evil Dead trilogy. In the 1992 film Army of Darkness, Ash Williams made his return from 1300 AD. Set 30 years following the return, we see Ash working as a stock boy in a value shop alongside his friend Pablo and co-worker Kelly, who Pablo is deeply infatuated with. Ash's life has been uneventful in comparison to his older battles across the Evil Dead trilogy, and he lives an unremarkable life with tremendous survivor's guilt, drinking away in bars and living in a trailer with his pet lizard. More so because his hometown of Michigan refused to believe him about the Deadites and accused him of murdering his sister and friends. But plot calls, and the Evil Dead returns, which prompts Ash to step up once more and become a hero. And because groups across fiction operate in trio settings, Ash is joined by Pablo and Kelly. Ash here is also a caretaker of a Necronomicon. That is the book which the Evil Dead MacGuffin uses to bring the dead back to life. Ash has failed to destroy the cursed book no matter how much he has tried, but when you can't get rid of something, it's best to guard it. Now, coming back to the cancellation, it oddly took place with only 2 episodes left to air, which means the show might end permanently on a cliffhanger. However many viewers remain, they will not be happy with that, especially with the Ghost Beaters. that is Ash, Pablo, and Kelly, having to undergo the test of battling a global demon infestation that has crossed the borders of Elk Grove long ago and now threatens humanity. But we do not know if a final episode is in the works. Some believe the show will eventually return at some point due to the cliffhanger ending, more so because Campbell did not flat out say Ash vs. Evil Dead is done for good. He claimed to be uncertain about the future of the show instead. The problem lies in his role in particular due to his retirement. Bruce Campbell himself told us exactly why it died. Hear me out. I am not blaming Starz, but sometimes happens. Especially with Lionsgate's acquisition of Starz, which eventually led to a restructuring. Ash vs. Evil Dead, in the face of business, just stopped being a priority, and the cast knew it as well. Campbell said, "We knew the ratings were bad after the end of the second season. We just knew it. No one knew what Starz was. I would say, hey, we're making that as a TV show. People go, yeah, where can I see it? Starz. And there will be a pause. And then they would go, what's Starz? When it dropped on Netflix, people went, hey, cool. Netflix is finally doing the Evil Dead show. I'm like, oh my God, it was 3 years too late. Other than that, Campbell himself seemed mentally exhausted from having to reprise his old role. He had spoken to Collider about the situation way back in 2021 itself. Let me just read out what he said verbatim to give you a clearer idea. I'm done playing Ash. So that determines a lot of where we go with the franchise without that character. But there are more stories. We're doing it book-focused these days. That darn book gets around, and that's how we play it. That book wound up in an urban environment with a single mom, so let's see what happened. It's fun to fiddle with it. There's not going to be any traditional form of Evil Dead anymore. Ash is gone. I've retired the character because I physically just can't do him anymore. So why bother? Why do I do it? It's time to hang up the chainsaw. But we still are filmmakers. We're still producers. We're still creative type dudes, so we're like, how do we keep this going otherwise? I mean, this was in 2021 and the show saw its release in 2015. The guy is old. He's pushing 70. Who wants to play a hero fighting zombies and possessed opponents at that age? He probably wants to be in a gondola sipping wine and enjoying a lazy Italian afternoon on a food coma. But the creators had already drafted their ideas for a 4th season, planning to create a Mad Max adjacent storyline, which would take place in the future where Ash would explore a dystopian world. Pablo, who was torn into ribbons by the demon Baal and then resurrected, would return. It was seemingly meant to be the final season, following which Campbell would retire. But since it seems to be done anyway, Campbell just got an early retirement. He is living the dreams of many. I don't think my good brother would want to complain. Unfortunately, the fans want more, leading to their Bring Back Boomstick campaign, hoping for another network to take up the series, but it does not seem likely. The season 3 finale left us in the worst possible place. The 3rd season of Ash vs. Evil Dead ended with 10 aired episodes and a cliffhanger ending. By this time, we have a resurrected Pablo, now known as Brujo Especial, while Kelly has her body possessed by sorceress Kaya. There's a rift that is key for humanity's survival, while Kelly and Brandy have their souls trapped in Deadlands. So Pablo and Ash devise a mental plan, almost like a suicide mission, more so because the girls are also being hunted down by dark powers. Pablo's love for Kelly has him going the extra mile to keep the rift between the worlds of good and evil open, and Kelly is stuck on the evil land thanks to Kaya. Meanwhile, Elk Grove becomes home to a deadite epidemic and a ginormous battle of the supernatural taking place across every street turns the place into a battleground. Ultimately, Ash fights a ginormous Kandarian demon, but when the dust settles, Elk Grove has been reduced to a post-apocalyptic setup, and we don't know what has happened to the others, while Ash is launched to a dystopian. Like, okay, the battle is over, but what next? There's no conclusion. We need to know what's up with the rift. We need to know where Pablo and Kelly are, and we need to know how Ash can get back. But nada. This would have been a great setup had a 4th season existed, but we must embrace the oblivion for now. It is possible the future Ash is in is the reason why the creators had created a Mad Max-like storyline. There must have been a plan that will now not be put into action. But 2023 saw the release of The Evil Dead Rise, which did very well. And with plans of a cartoon series, Campbell was ready to voice Ash because he cannot physically play an action guy, but he still sounds like Ash. He said that his body was beat up, but his voice could still get the job done for the video game and the animated series. And as said by Campbell himself, a future is easier to explore as a cartoon than in live action. So what was season 4 actually going to be? Remember when I mentioned Mad Max? The 4th season was under development with Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, and Robert Tappert handling it. They knew what they wanted to make of his post-apocalyptic future. Many believed there could be a sci-fi angle, with publications like Bloody Disgusting, expecting a Mad Max meets Fallout situation alongside robots. Interestingly, Sam Raimi's original ending for Army of Darkness already played with a similar idea. In that version, Ash Williams drinks too much of a sleeping potion and wakes up centuries later in a ruined future instead of returning safely to his own time. The theatrical ending changed this, sending Ash back to the present where he resumes his job at S-Mart. Season 4 of Ash vs. Evil Dead seemed ready to revisit that abandoned concept, placing Ash in a post-apocalyptic future with a Mad Max-like wasteland setting, possibly mixed with sci-fi elements like robots. The fans fought hard. #BringBackBoomstick and what happened after. You know how Ash's shotgun is known as the boomstick? So fans had launched the Bring Back Boomstick campaign on social media, which I have mentioned once, and the cast too pushed back against the cancellation. Fans want Campbell to power through one last time if a 4th season rolls in. And De Lorenzo, his co-star who plays Kelly, said, "I honestly feel like never say never. There have been shows where they get canceled, but then they're picked up by another network. I know Bruce has said he is in retirement, but I feel like Ray and I could convince him. He just needs a good 1 or 2 years of just like chilling in the woods and not having the boomstick in his hands. And then he starts to crave it and it'll come back." I love the series, but I just think if he wants to chill, he can chill. Who wants to work at his age, especially when he has a nest of wealth to fall back on? I know I wouldn't. There are talks of Sam Raimi reprising the series, other movies being in the pipeline, and so on. But I think sometimes people just say things to pacify the fans. They generally do not amount to much, so I would not take everyone's words for it beyond Campbell wanting to retire. You guys might feel differently, however, but I'd advise take all the maybe we might return with a grain of salt. It's all business. Yes, there will be more Evil Dead movies even 50 years into the future because it's business. That's why we have Ash vs. Evil Dead. The hope of a season return helps sell a movie from the same franchise. I know damn well I was interested in Evil Dead Rise, specifically because it would expand the Ash vs. Evil Dead universe. Would I have been that interested had the show not been canned midway? Nah, probably not. But one thing's for certain, the franchise will keep making stuff because people want to see it. Is Ash actually done, or is there still a chance? Ash vs. Evil Dead, with 30 episodes, has a Rotten Tomatoes rating of 98%, which is huge. So it does not make sense for the project to get completely scrapped. More so with Evil Dead Rise being huge at the box office, as it grossed around $150 million worldwide, despite a budget of $15 million. There is renewed interest in the franchise too, but the primary problem seems to be with Campbell's retirement. I am going to say something controversial now. My younger cousins know of the Evil Dead, but they are not super aware of Campbell being Ash and how the entire thing goes. The franchise will last, as it should, both for the people and business. So we will eventually need a new guy to step up for Ash Williams. The younger audience is not that locked in on Campbell playing Ash, and they will be much more flexible with a new guy on the block. For them, that will be the normal. We as a society need to accept this if we want certain franchises to survive. Ash vs. Evil Dead might be done, but the Evil Dead franchise is not, and neither is Ash. But there's also glory in something coming to an end. You don't want to pull a Marvel and lose all your motion with the people. With that, this video comes to an end. Hope you've enjoyed it. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.